Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the e-commerce lab by Ecomcy, the place where every to Amazon IBA Pro level and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of Ecomcy, and today we bring you a very close friend of mine. I think he's been in the podcast now 3, 4 times, so he's becoming quite the regular here. His name is Chris McCabe, and he's one of the founder and CEO of e-commerce Chris, where they specialize on everything that has to do with reinstatement when it comes to account, ASINs, all the kind of headaches that you most likely are encountering as an Amazon seller. And that's why I wanted to bring Chris here because guess what? In a couple of days, Prime Day is gonna be here, and I'm sure people is thinking, okay, how do I get ready? What is gonna happen? What has happened previous years? And Chris has a lot of horror stories that he would love to share with us, but more importantly, how you can navigate that situation and try to stay on the game because that's the most important thing, especially to really maximize these special dates. So, Chris, welcome again to the show. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks. You're my favorite
Yeah.
Italian. How are you doing?
You're Italian as well,
I
so
mean,
guess
except
what?
for my own family members. You're like my favorite Italian friend. How are you?
Thank you, bro. Thank you. It's always good to have you here. You bring so much, wisdom and insights when it comes to Amazon. So I
Thanks.
guess for those that might not know, you just give us a brief introduction, and then of course we can kick off the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what number Prime Day this is for us. I guess up to 10 or something. Now it's a few days. So for over a decade after I worked at Amazon for several years, for anyone that's not familiar with e-commerce, Chris, we started out focusing on the major league problems like reinstating accounts. I mean, we're still doing that, but ASIN problems, listing problems. As time has gone on, we've offered more, solution type services around brand registry fixes, product and safety issues, compliance issues, and of course, competitor abuse, which we're going to talk about today because competitor abuse really ramps up before Prime Day and during Prime Day.
Awesome.
I mean, we've been tackling this stuff for a long time, so we've seen kind of
You're the
everything. But
guy.
it's always good to be prepared for anything new.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. So with that said, I guess let's start with a soft kind of introduction of what most likely is gonna happen with this Prime Day. We have seen it in previous years. Things get pretty nasty. Accounts start getting suspended just a few hours before. ASINs taken down. Competitors going and doing crazy things to your listings. I mean, and the list is just getting started with some of those mentions. So I
Yeah.
guess tell us what do you see this year as a intro, I guess, for those I'm not aware of, you need to be aware of for Prime Day. Yeah.
Well, I mean, first, if you're at risk of being suspended now, don't just delay it or ignore dealing with it until after Prime Day and assume that you'll be on during Prime Day. Some people probably won't be suspended, but they won't be prepared in case it hits them last minute. So even if you sent in an appeal to counter whatever flag they put you under, it doesn't mean that they're going to get to it right away. They might get to it like the night before Prime Day. So the first step is like clear up your account health, make sure you didn't miss any performance notifications, maybe sure your account health rating is 1,000. Because if you're so busy with other Prime Day stuff that you miss performance flags, they're not going to have any sympathy, right? They're just going to get to it when they get to it. If that's during Prime Day, it's during Prime Day. So it's like up to you. The burden's on you to keep track of that and understand where you are in their ecosystem of performance evaluation. So I think step one is just like, did you miss anything? Did you appeal something that got rejected? You didn't know what to do, so you're just waiting until you come up with new ideas, because that's not the way to do it. This is not the month for that approach, right? And we still talk to brands who are like, we don't care about that ASIN, so let them take it. And maybe our account health will go down. We'll worry about it after Prime Day. Wrong way to look at it. If you get another notification on another ASIN, you're just going to have more and more problems, right? You can hear in my voice, I'm talking to people over and over about this stuff. I've started to lose my voice because I'm like explaining things. Honestly, most of the brands I talk to, I hope they're already at that level and they're ready for like high level strategy. Like they're ready to be attacked, not worried about dealing with account health cases. Because I think you just have to have that mastered long before Prime Day rolls in.
Agree.
So
I mean, I think you mentioned something there that at the end of the day is analysis paralysis. Like everybody knows they have an issue, but they don't take action because they're just overanalyzing. I don't want to take action now. I
yeah,
just hope for Prime Day, and that's actually a very good starting point because I agree. People think that, oh, I'm just gonna ride the wave, get some revenue through the door on Prime Day, and then I fix it afterwards. But I think something that I just want to add, and maybe you can correct me, is not only potentially that you might get shut down during Prime Day, but we all know that if you have a successful Prime Day, that's usually a snowball effect in a good way for
hmm
your account in the shape of ranking, in the shape of positioning overall. And then if you get shut down even a week after, you might lose all the boost that you
yeah.
got. So it's something that you should ideally fix right now, you know?
And you're
Yeah,
handing your competitors a huge advantage because it takes you time to recover,
exactly.
and you're just giving them a gift. Why would you gift wrap something for your competitors? And like, I'm auditing and assessing brands that are active, right? They're not fully suspended. We're working on other stuff for them. And some of these brands I introduced to you, right? They're looking for an agency, and I make an introduction to you as well. But at the same time, I'm looking and assessing, like, do they need something from us? And I'm like picking apart and identifying all these problems. And I ask basic questions like, did you guys see this message in April? And they're like, oh yeah, we saw that. We already opened a case, but nobody answered it. And like, that's the end of the story. And it's like, you can't let this stuff fester, just trusting these teams. I mean, these teams are getting worse at communication, worse at reviewing appeals. Um, it's going downhill on the Amazon side. You can't trust them to protect you. You got to protect yourself. So you have to
Agree.
like button all that up before we even get into the part of the conversation, which is about competitors looking to poke at your weaknesses, because the more weaknesses you have, the more competitors can buy from you and complain about something, and it'll resonate with Amazon and they'll take action.
Yeah,
And they're not going to have sympathy. They're not going to care if it's June 21st. They just won't.
of course.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that something about competitors, and I want to start drawing the conversation there. Like you say, some competitors, especially the ones that understand the game, they know that they can find these weaknesses and attack you just to take you down. Maybe something to do with the quality of your product, something to do with your reviews. I mean, there's so many loopholes they can
Yeah.
exploit. My question is for somebody that has, because the first thing we just discussed is somebody that has something right now getting flagged on their account. They go inside their account and they have a notification. You need to fix X, Y, and Z. But the reality is sometimes there's accounts that show nothing, that you think you're 100% healthy and nothing can take you down, but you have some weak points
Yeah.
that your competition can exploit. So how somebody can kind of prepare for that? I guess you can do a pre-audit or potentially the areas that can be exploited. Like, what is your plan of action for
Make
that?
sure you're selling in the proper category.
Mm-hmm.
Competitors love to report sellers for selling in the wrong category. So make
Okay.
sure you're in the right category to begin with, so you can dispute that quickly, counter that notification, and fix it quickly. I did a post about this on LinkedIn a few days ago. That's a hot topic right now. Not just the trying to push your products into the adult category. That's always been going on. But the idea that miscategorization will be enforced, Amazon, those are almost like bots. They just fire immediately and send you a warning. You're in the wrong category. Obviously, you can't dispute it if you're in the wrong category. So
Yeah.
check that first. If you know you're in the right category and you have like a SaaS core rep, get them
Mm-hmm.
on the case immediately, and don't
Mm-hmm.
accept a wishy-washy answer from SaaS core. Most of the
Mm,
brands we work with have a SaaS core rep. Most of those
okay.
people are paying $5,000 a month for that rep. So
Crazy.
like,
I know.
I mean, I think everyone we work with is paying $5,000 a month, 60K a year.
Yeah.
So if
Which
they come
between you
back,
and I don't know if they're getting return on investment, but let's leave it there.
I think you have to actively manage it to make
Yeah.
sure you get a return.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you sit back passively
And
and
think
let
they're
them
gonna be
talk to you,
proactive. Yeah. Yeah. That's not gonna happen.
you have to be an active participant. You have to drive the conversation. You're not paying them to drive the conversation. When you have these types of problems, they'll say they're not that team and they don't have visibility into it. Not a good answer. You got to get them
Yeah.
opening internal cases first, support cases quickly, get that out of the way, and then move into internal escalations. And then if that doesn't work, you have to escalate it yourself externally. And you just have to
Yeah.
be prepared for that. You can't wait or complain or say, why aren't you guys doing more? You're going to hit a brick wall. You have to manage it yourself. I know it sucks, but that's just
Yeah.
the reality. And I know you're paying for it. If you don't have
Yeah.
SaaS core, you're doing a lot of stuff people with SaaS core have to do. You have to do external
I know.
escalations, which any brand that's selling really well on Amazon should understand. If you ever have downtime, study the escalation process, whether
Exactly.
it's LinkedIn, YouTube. Make sure you're not listening to some crank wild nut. I know there's a lot of content out there, but
Yeah. You have to be
you should be
careful.
able to tell within 2 or 3 minutes if the person knows what they're talking about. You know,
Yeah.
how specific are they?
Yeah.
Um,
So so
the,
something I
yeah,
wanted to ask you regarding this, because you already gave so many good advices, and that's awesome. I think what is sometimes difficult for a lot of people to grasp is depending on the category. I know for a fact there's different loopholes they can exploit in the home and kitchen category compared to
mhm,
supplements, compared to because different documentation, different things, and so
yeah,
on. So now, being said that, I'm putting yourself in the shoes of people listening this, and most of them don't know which these loopholes are. Like,
right.
are they late? Let's say once they see this episode or hearing this episode, there's 1 week away, 2 weeks away from Prime Day. Are they too late? Can they act now? Or this is something they have to do months in advance? How they can be as ready as possible for
I
Prime
mean,
Day in terms of
the,
timelines, you know?
if it's documentation, if you need compliance documentation and your brands are going to report you for something to prompt Amazon to ask you for documentation, whether it's legitimate or not, if you're missing anything, find that out now so you have it ready in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Because some attacks will happen the night before. We're seeing
Yeah,
attacks
exactly.
2 weeks before. This Prime Day looks like it's going to be uglier because the attacks
Mm,
are happening sooner, which
wow.
means they're probably attacking you using A and B right now because they've already got C and D waiting during Prime
Exactly.
Day.
They
This
have
is
a
the pre-attack.
contingency. Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. Mm-hmm.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
different. I didn't see that last year. I didn't see it the year before. We're seeing people who are getting attacked just to see if you're prepared, just to see if you
Wow.
know how to appeal. And when they see you
Yeah.
opening cases and wasting time with support and wasting time with account health reps that keep changing their minds, they know you don't know
Mm-hmm.
what to do. And then they attack
Mm.
you more during Prime Day because it's
Interesting.
worth it. It's worth it. If you're a
Yeah.
brand that's not selling that much, then you're not worth attacking, right? Like,
Might
not
be a
every
top
brand.
three, top five, and you're
Yeah.
taking a big chunk of the market share. We're talking sometimes,
Yeah.
hundreds of dozens of dollars that they can get from you.
And some of it's just be ready for Amazon mistakes, their AI mistakes, their bot mistakes. It's not necessarily a competitor triggering it. Sometimes Amazon just screws up technically and they take your listing away or they threaten to take it away. And they threaten to
Mm,
take it away without a definitive timeline. It could be tomorrow,
mm,
it could be 3 days. They might give you 48 hours to appeal, they might not. So you just have to be ready to appeal your hero ASIN if anything happens. Illicit ASIN contributions, back end keyword abuse, pushed into the wrong category, a bunch of people complaining overnight that it's broken or expired or inauthentic. I
yeah.
mean, those are so common that you should be prepared or preparing like this week for that. So that if it happens, you've already got a draft or you've already got a plan or you've already got a
Mm-hmm.
strategy. And
Yeah.
then if it's an edge case, something totally unusual,
Yeah.
yeah, run it by us because maybe we've seen it happening to other people.
Yeah.
And that maybe you can't prepare for everything, but you can prepare for most of it,
Of
like
course.
catalog abuse, detail page abuse. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, the 1-star reviews, you should already know how to get rid of fake reviews, or you should
Yeah.
already have a plan.
Yeah.
Back end keyword abuse, you should already know how to manage your flat files and make sure there's no vacant fields when you
Mm,
sync up with Amazon's API. But some of the other stuff, yeah, it might be new and invented a new attack strategy.
agree.
You know,
Agree. So there's something there that you mentioned that I don't know, like how to be ready for this because it's tough. Like you
yeah,
mentioned, there are a lot of people reporting your product as bad quality, fraudulent, all these different reasons.
yeah.
How can somebody be ready for that? Because let's say a competitor send 50, 100 people to do that. Is there something you can do based on your experience, or how you navigate a situation like that?
The good
You know?
news is they typically use really sloppy AI on the
Okay.
comments. I mean, if it's a bunch of 1-star ratings with no reviews, then that tells you a lot right
Yeah,
there. And it looks more like an attack. But for
hmm
the moment, let's just say you got a bunch of 1-star reviews.
yeah.
You're lucky in a way that they still tend to use the same bogus sounding language that
Mm,
all sounds like each other. And they do that on purpose. They're trying to make every complaint sound the same. So it looks
exactly.
like a pattern. And they try to show that you have a bad batch of inventory. So that actually
Hmm
works in your favor because you can say, look at these comments. They all sound the same. They're all from buyers with one review on their whole
hmm
history.
yeah, yeah.
It's obvious that it's bullshit. You can use that to your advantage. Yeah.
Cool.
If it's
Um,
more nuanced, yes. I mean, there's, you have to kind of play around with the strategy a little bit. It's not always easy.
yeah, yeah. Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Cool. Now you mentioned something, just to kind of start ramping up the level of things how nasty can get. Like, there's always been rumors. I'm curious, and you don't have to answer this, but there's always been rumors that people have sometimes insiders, especially when there's things that clearly cannot be done if you don't have somebody inside from a
Mhm.
catalog perspective. You mentioned they can have visibility of how many cases you're raising, things like that. Do you feel that's still happening in 2026?
I mean,
To some extent?
depends on what you mean by insiders, but as you know,
Like attacks from inside of Amazon, like
yeah,
you have
people can
somebody.
buy screenshots of
Yeah,
your account
exactly.
from an
Yeah, yeah.
employee. I mean, this is common knowledge. It's been
Mm-hmm.
talked about to death, and no one really reacts to it publicly. But
Yeah.
if somebody wants to look at what ASINs you've had complaints, like I mean, real legit buyer complaints,
Mm-hmm.
they can find out what those complaints were, copy them, and
Mm.
buy from you and make the same complaint to make it look like you have a
Wow.
chronic problem. That's been going on for years.
I know. I know.
And people were caught for doing it and punished for doing it. I would punished in quotes,
Yeah.
light slap on the wrist punishment that wasn't effective at all. But the bottom line is somebody can figure out where you're weak if they want to and use that
That's
against
crazy.
you by buying from you. It's really quick, simple, easy to
Yeah.
what ASINs were
Take a
flagged, why were they
picture.
flagged.
Yeah.
I mean, if they get copies of your account annotations, which everyone and their mother and brother knows that they can get, they can see your appeal too. If they want to, they can see what you're trying to do to counter it. So it's like they've got the whole blueprint of how to attack you. That's why you have to
Mm.
be ready. But if you're fully 100% up to date on your account health, you already know where you're vulnerable. So you
Of
already
course.
know where somebody might try to attack you. Whether it's an internal attack or an external attack, you already know what you need to defend. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Super
like
important.
if you have a
Mm-hmm.
weak part of your castle wall, you're going to put more people there when
Exactly.
people try
Yeah.
to come in. It's the same
Yeah. Yeah.
concept,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's a shame
Now
that we have to talk about this stuff, but it's true.
it happens. Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it because people need to be aware that this is something that's definitely happening. Now,
Yeah.
talking about things that you see that getting maybe very sophisticated. I'm actually curious about, are you seeing people going crazy at leveraging AI to attack other people? Like, are you seeing any new methods of attack that you'd like to share? High level, without details. Like, what are you seeing maybe that this year? Wow, these guys are getting very sophisticated to really attack their competition. Are you seeing something crazy?
I thought that would happen by now. I haven't seen that, which is
Okay,
good. Next
cool.
year, God only knows.
Mm,
I think right now people are just trying to decipher Amazon's internal AI tools and
yeah.
game them. And maybe that's
hmm
what you mean.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they're trying to trigger bots. I mean, they were always doing that. So AI or
Yeah.
not. My recommendation to people is if something unexplained by the data or by the
Mm,
messaging or by, God forbid, the person you talk to on account health comes up, move that conversation or that appeals process to a manual place as quickly as possible.
I see.
And that's emails, escalation emails
You
are
have the report.
increasing the likelihood that senior level management or their delegated staff are looking at it, which is a person, which is a manual process. Get it out of the tools and teams and email queues, like generic email
Exactly.
queues, because
Yeah.
that's where
You get lost.
Amazon's
Whatever you have a conversation about, you get lost. Yeah. hmm
Amazon's gullible. They fall for tricks all the time. People are trying to make it look like your brand is offering gifts, 5-star review
Yeah.
gifts on a fake website, and they'll
Mm,
make the page for you, which you didn't know existed,
exactly.
show it to Amazon, and Amazon will fall for it. And they'll
Hmm.
call you and blame you and say you have to appeal. We see that you're
Yeah.
abusing the reviews process. What? Wasn't me. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? It's a
Yeah.
setup.
That's
It's a
crazy.
frame. It's a frame job.
Yeah. It's
And the
crazy.
people
I
on
have
those
seen it.
teams should be hip to that and should be well versed in that on that trick. And if your job is chasing black hats, you should know how black hats eat and sleep and think and drink. And
Yeah.
they don't. And they don't. And it's alarming. Yeah.
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 Cool. I guess to start bringing this to kind of closure, and kind of sharing the last few tips and next steps, like what do you think? I mean, of course, you already talked about preparation. You already talked about some of the attacks that are happening right now. What are things that I would like to share, especially for this Prime Day, that you really feel is gonna be nasty in the sense of the ways attacks are happening? Any last piece of wisdom you wanna share for people can kind of leverage that moving forward?
I think part of the problem is that sellers are really bad at reporting abuse still, even though there's whole teams at Amazon dedicated to acting on abuse. People are
Hmm.
still opening seller support cases and waiting and doing nothing else, which is worthless. People are
I
still
know.
sending emails in a generic email queues and waiting, which is borderline worthless. The people who make noise, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
I
That's
know.
how abuse gets reported. People are still sending in weird legal letters to Amazon Legal, who sits on it for 3 months, which has no value. And I get that lawyers are sales pitching and making up all this fantasy stuff about legal approaches. That happens later in the process, way down the line. That's not your first line of defense. So people are actually harming themselves, not helping themselves by approaching abuse reporting wrong. And if you're like a 7-figure brand who really needs this, and if you're a 7-figure brand that might not be around this time next year, you can't afford to screw this up.
I
You
know.
need to kill it during Prime Day. You can't
Yeah.
make one mistake and then another mistake and then another mistake. You're not going to survive, right? I
I
mean,
know.
I don't even know if it's that controversial to say that.
I know. No, no, it's
So
true. I mean, this is a year. I've been saying this to all the people I talk to, and I've been going to a lot of events this year. This is a year
yeah,
that's gonna make or break a lot of people.
yeah,
And Prime Day, especially especially the guys that only play the Amazon game, you
yeah.
can afford to lose a Prime Day. It's like it's a very
Wow.
important date. Yeah.
Well,
So
that's
definitely, that's
that's
why
why I
people like
wanted to
you can
have
be the saviors. Mm-hmm.
that's why I wanted to have you back on our podcast, because you go to more events than anyone I know, and I just wanted to kind of read the temperature on, do people understand
It's
how make or
crazy.
break the next 9 to 12 months are? Because Amazon itself is helping the acceleration along of this marketplace consolidation. Amazon itself is favoring larger brands versus smaller ones. It is not a hospitable environment for new small brands that have low resources, low ad spend,
I know.
low investment in
It's
Amazon,
crazy. Becoming pay to win. Yeah.
and less margin for mistakes. If
Mm-hmm.
if you have less resources and you're making mistakes,
That's it.
that's it. This is going to be it. And do people
Yeah.
actually understand that? Because you go to 3-4 times the events that I do,
I know.
and this is
I
all I
mean,
talk
it's
about. Yeah,
it's tough, and we need to have a follow-up episode about this. But yes, I
yeah,
mean, just to conclude with this, just to share some insights, like Amazon has killed, as of June, all the distributors pretty much. Amazon is killing most vendors unless you are the big brand directly. Amazon is killing the small sellers. So at the end of the day, Amazon is trying to remove the middle guy, and they're only making, as you mentioned, the ones that have the big pockets survive. So if either you are good at executing, either you have a good product, or either you have a margin big enough so the Chinese cannot eat you. So if
right.
it's none of them, you're in trouble. And I guess that's something, a conversation we're definitely happy to have on another episode. But I
Yeah,
think other than that, it's been a pleasure, Chris. Thank you so much for these insights. Hopefully we don't scare people with this. I think more than that, We want people to really be aware of what is possible and that there's some bad players, and that's why there's people like you and with your company, Commerce Chris, where you can really fix this on the go. So I invite everybody. If you want to have a check, you're gonna be ready for Prime Day. You're having an issue. Chris is definitely the
Yeah.
guy that can ensure you don't get attacked.
Well, I mean, time is of the essence. So if you have an emergency, just email Chris at Ecommerce Chris, CHRIS at Ecommerce Chris.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the links
And
below as well. Website and
yeah, I mean, direct email would be, you can come to our website and send a message there, of course. But when time is of the essence, it's like, contact us quickly, show us maybe not everything you've ever seen, but key pieces of information, show us what you've done so far to fix it. A lot of people, again, we can talk about this on another episode, but a lot of people are doing a bunch of things at once, but it's quantity, it's not quality.
exactly.
And you got to be kind of like surgical with it. You don't want to just be like, let's throw everything. Amazon just won't react if you throw them, 7 different approaches. They're not going to take it. So
Good, Chris. So
yeah.
pleasure. Thank you so much, and definitely see you in the next one. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye bye. See ya.